Good to go. All right. Good evening, everyone, community board staff, and welcome to this meeting of the Featherston Community Board. Due to the COVID-19 restrictions, this meeting is being held via audio-video conference. All members participating via audio-video conference will count for the purpose of the meeting quorum in accordance with Clause 25B of Schedule 7 to the Local Government Act 2002. The meeting is being live streamed to Council's YouTube channel. The meeting will also be recorded and, subject to the recording being of suitable quality, will be made available on Council's YouTube channel via a link on the Council's website. So we'll kick off extraordinary business. Do we have any extraordinary business that needs to be added to the agenda?
Yes.
Yes, Claire?
Just an update on the Christmas parade that Jason can do. And I can raise the other matter as we go through our minutes, if that's okay.
Okay, so do we just need to add these items, Katie?
I would like to also raise maybe an issue with some of the members who would go. I thought they were going to be on here tonight about the rates. The rates meeting, but it won't be long. It was just really to clarify some issues, but I'm not sure if you were going to raise that as well.
We can possibly talk about that in the reports at the end.
Yeah.
Do we need to add these items into the extraordinary, Katie, that Claire's brought up now with the community, with the Christmas parade and whatever else
you have? The Christmas event in your chairperson report, so
yeah, we can talk about that then. Yep, awesome.
Then, yep.
You're happy to do that there, Claire?
Yep, perfect.
Yep. And what was the other one you just said about?
Rates, just to raise. I know that there were two people who wanted to come to speak to us tonight. As they're not here, I would like to. They've contacted me to see how to do it, and obviously they haven't been able to get on. So I would like, if that's okay, to just raise the issues they raised with me.
We just do that here, Katie?
I believe that you have a topic regarding the rates in your chairperson report.
Also in the same thing with my letter. Yep, so we can do that there, Claire.
Just discuss it then. Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. No worries. Thank you. Okay, so apologies. We've got an apologies from Councillor Eames. Do we have any other apologies? No, I move that the apology from Councillor Eames be accepted. Do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Raise your hand. Claire, thank you. All those in favour say aye or raise your hand. Those against say no or raise your hand.
No.
You're happy with that? Okay, the motion's carried. Thank you.
Can I bring something up? I'm really sorry. Can we put on to extraordinary business that we know that we've got a new councillor being elected to fill Ross Vickery's space, and maybe we should be looking to have that person on our board to as the South Waterford. Can that happen? We
can find out about that later on. We'll talk and ask Alex as to what the process is.
Is that okay? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. We can do that. Do we have any conflicts of interest? Be clear regards to the items on the agenda? No conflicts of interest. Any acknowledgements or tributes? Does anyone have any acknowledgements or tributes I'd like to make? No? Okay, thanks. Public participation. We obviously have no public participation tonight. So there won't be any action from the public participation. So the community board minutes from our last meeting, which was we've got that on there, is can we have a mover the community board meeting minutes from the October 21 be confirmed as true and correct? Thank you, Claire. Do we have a seconder for that? Jason, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand. Thank you. Those against say no or raise your hand. Motion carried. Thank you. Do we have no questions on those, on any of that? So we now move on to the the Chief Executive and Staff Reports. 8.1, which is pages 5 to 47. I'm able to move that we've accepted those. Do we have a seconder for that? Claire, thank you. All those in favour, aye or raise your hand. Those against, aye or raise your, no, sorry. Those against say no or raise your hand. Motion's carried, thank you for that. Right, have we got any questions or clarification on any of that report?
Yes.
Yes, Claire.
I would like to ask to go to page 6.
Yes.
On the South Wairarapa spatial plan. I noticed that the council has notified that they have accepted the spatial plans. I was just wondering how, if what the submission said and how the spatial plan was altered towards the submissions made, or if it's very similar to the spatial plan that was presented to us about 6 months ago. Are there any alterations to the spatial plan from submissions?
Are you able to answer that, Russell?
Yeah. So just on the topic, so the spatial plan encompasses the spatial plan map for the whole district, recording those elements of key significance going forward, and the strategic drivers diagram accompanying the map. So they're read as a whole. In terms of the residential growth areas, which has been the focus point of the spatial plan, or alongside the spatial plan, there hasn't been substantive change. There's been inclusion in terms of Featherston. It's been unchanged as to what went out in the discussion document. For Martinborough, there was inclusion of an area near the edge of the town for inclusion for it to be from rural to residential as part of the rationalisation of the town boundary, and so one of the submitted portions of land was included in that. And for Regent Street, that has also the southern portion of Regent Street, the strip there in Martinborough, has also been included for capture as residential, rather than being in the southern portion of the Martinborough proposed outer residential growth area. And along with that, councillors gave due consideration to what was put before them and accepted that the area to the east of Greytown, i.e. Papawai to Jellicoe portion, would be included as new residential growth area in its entirety, and a small portion to the north would have to undergo further investigation before it passes the final hurdle for inclusion as further residential. And the councillors also discussed the prospect of future long-term development of around the Woodside station, and that is got the green light for further consideration, but it is not within the immediate years as being opened up for new growth. It's in the medium term as an area for provisioning for Greytown and its future. So that's a little synopsis of the extent of change and what the council has considered.
Thank you. Just as a little aside on that one, some of that strategic plan took in Underhill Road, which is very, very close to an earthquake fault. How has the council taken that when they were looking at the strategic plan? How have they ensured that people who build there won't be on a fault line?
So that is a matter of, you're talking about a natural hazard, and that would be, in terms of homes being built within the area, that would be subject to building consent process, and but I'm also jumping back to the constraints analysis that went into original identification of potential areas. So that thinking was early captured, and you're raising a building consent matter in terms of homes that, if they were to be built, any application would have to meet
Okay.
building code.
Would that come under like a due diligence procedure with building, Russell? Because I mean, it's like, as you say, it's a natural hazard, and so long as, I mean, it's not really under the control of council, is it?
No. Well, the topic Claire raises is one that a lot of New Zealand faces in terms of the robustness of homes to meet the risk. But our guidance on that is the building code requirements, and we've been pretty careful in our earlier investigation and constraints analysis required before we even suggested areas for councillors to vote on for potential growth areas.
Just
carry on, Claire.
no, I just want to follow up with what you raised. Sorry about this, Russell, but the area that you do, will that be on the LIM report? The close those kind of faults.
Well,
or does somebody buy something and then have to? So
the matter of what does or doesn't appear on a LIM report, it has to be a known and identified risk. So the fact that of close proximity to an earthquake fault line, I can't answer that topic. I'd answer it in a wider sense. For anything to be put on a LIM, it has to be of a known risk.
Right.
Such as the more clear-cut ones are propensity to be low-lying and exposed to flooding, or a known liquefaction area.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Claire. Any other questions?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so if we jump forward to page 39 on the dashboard, I've just got some concerns. I noticed this year that the council had raised with them, I think through Lee Hay, about Wellington Water and the cost overruns and a whole lot of issues that should be dealt with. And I'm just looking at the on the dashboard, it's just got Featherston Wastewater Treatment Plan, $500,000. Now I realise it's going to be spent, but it is it is progress slowed while the L2P consultation. What is happening, and is this money just going into consultation, or is it actually going to go into any kind of asset delivery that we can show our people that something is being done? Or is this 500K just going into the development and implementation of consultation?
Is that on page 39 there, Claire?
That's on page, if you go to project appendix 1, page 38, it's on the Assets and Services Committee meeting overall program status. It's on the first page, so it hasn't got a number, but it's under Featherston Wastewater Treatment Plan under major projects. It's the second down.
Oh, yeah. It is that one.
And then if you turn the page, this is another thing that just concerns me a little bit. Under Wastewater Treatment Plan Improvement Program, we've spent 400K on a pond sludge survey by the look of it. And I'm just trying to think, we are spending a hell of a lot of money on surveys and consultation, and actually we've seen no results. I also note that, you know, the upgrade to Papawai, suddenly 2.8 million is going to come out here. We've got a really, really big problem with cost overruns and sudden, you know, things half done and suddenly a whole lot more money spent. We've spent 3 years now on our Featherston wastewater treatment plan, or 2 years anyway, and we are still no better. And we've seemed to have spent nearly $1 million on consultation and sludge surveys. I just find this incredibly short-sighted, and I would like to support Councillor Hay and ask that maybe this kind of money should be going to grassroots, on the ground, fixing our situation, instead of $25 million going off to wastewater, Wellington Water, sorry.
Okay. Are you able to confirm whether that is just for consultation, Russell, or is there some work being done with that money?
Perhaps, Russell, if you want me to.
Alex,
yeah. I'll let the Mayor speak on this one, but the only thing I would say is that, just a simple initial response to Claire's question, is Council is mindful of that they receive the right information to make a right and proper decision for a good solution for the Featherston wastewater. And I know it's taking time, but we rely on Wellington Water providing us a robust and technically appropriate solution. So I can't answer the question as to the 500,000, having not been directly involved in that. But Mayor Alex can elaborate further.
Sure. So on the opposite page, which I think you mentioned, Claire, with regards to sludge survey. A sludge survey is an operation, what is not consultation. It is testing sludge and sending the results through. So that's really nothing to do with a survey of people. With regards to the
you're frozen. Everyone else not getting Alex?
No.
Oh, there he is.
So I'll move into a better area. Rural broadband. So the real problem we have is with regards to the Ministry for the Environment, finally giving us standards that we can then apply to a solution. And they're still not due out, which is really hampering our willingness to settle on a solution which may not be appropriate for new regulations. And we have been to the Minister for Local Government to request that they be speeded up, and they promised they would, and then DIA didn't. The other problem as well is to look at solutions and affordability. So that is a matter for the Assets and Services and Council, and we are currently working through that. So there is still money being spent, because we must continue with the consenting process in order to still operate.
I've lost you again.
Can you hear me now?
Got you there.
Right, I'll try here. Sorry. So we are continuing with expenditure with regards to looking at solutions. We must do that as part of our consenting pathline with the Greater Wellington Regional Council. The money is not being wasted. However, it is frustrating that we cannot settle on a solution yet. So that's probably where I'd go with Wellington Water and the operations in in Featherston.
Can I just seek a clarification through the chair? When you say that it's an operational matter for pond sludge surveys,
Yes.
does that not get paid for by the ratepayer?
That is an operational OPEX, which is part of the maintenance of the wastewater treatment plant, looking at the sludge and the quality, I think, and then sending those results over for analysis and making sure we are complying. So yes, it is a rate. Everything to do with water is ratepayer funded, but that is a part of the operation. That the word survey is possibly distracting you.
Okay, so just for a clarification, if you were doing, I don't understand how a pond sludge survey costs that kind of money. We've only got a few pond sludges, and it just, what I'm saying is we've got the most incredible problem within our rohe, where the Ruakaka-Petuna Road was not appropriately, it needs sealing because of its dangers, yet we're spending $400,000 on looking at our sludge, where surely all it needs was a measurement to say, yes, we need to clean this out, or no, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're pulling in various matters with regard, we're talking about water and wastewater in particular, and I can request of officers to break down the costs for the sludge survey and what work they're doing in that area, but it bears no relevance to the Ruakaka-Petuna Road.
It doesn't. It just means that rates need to go that way.
Yeah.
And also just
the other thing, Claire, to be mindful is that you don't oversimplify technical requirements needed. We've relied on those specialist engineering type or infrastructure type advisors to provide us a robust solution, and whereby we're also tracking what the actual situation on site is.
Right. So the pond sludge surveys are to understand how they would fit into the new treatment.
I can't clarify that. Again, you're probably you're trying to assess what it is without clarification. So we would need to go back to our.
I would be very grateful if I could ask through the chair that we have clarification as to
what a pond sludge survey actually is. We'll let's do that.
By the sounds of it, it's more of a testing than a survey. I mean, I think we would get mixed up a little bit clear, and I'm not sure whether I'm understanding this from your point. As a survey is sort of like, here's a slip of paper, let's work out what's going on. I think the testing is the physical, actually working what the sludge is reacting and how it's worked and what have you through that. So maybe we could find that out.
Thank you.
Did you have anything else, Claire, or anyone else? Anything else?
No.
One thing I just wanted to find out about was Russell, and I'm not sure whether there's been any change to the dog pound, whether there's any updates on that. I see there's been a few things here checked regarding the use of the shipping containers, and that the officers have nearly completed the acquisition of costings for the development of a local pound. Is that still? Is there still the possibility of a combined pound? Do we know?
Would you like me to answer that, Russell?
Yes, please.
Okay, so it's gone through to Assets and Services. We have agreed that they pursue a containerized option to keep it within the cost that we have allocated. Even a combined pound would blow out our budget. I've got a meeting on Friday with the manager, and we're looking at a couple of site options, and that will be reported back to Assets and Services when that's decided. But we have green lighted the tendering process for the construction, the location to follow.
Okay, and do you know if they'll still be individual pounds?
They will be
to be decided.
They will be a South Wairarapa pound only,
okay,
and with storage and fully compliant with MPI regulations.
Okay.
Yeah. Could I just actually raise something on page 47, because I see it's still part of the asset management report example. I'm sorry, maybe I should address this through the chair to you, Russell. A tree summary for Huanarua Park in Martinborough can you explain through this? And is this going to be done for Featherston as well?
I'd have to get clarification on that.
Okay.
But that is Stefan's area, and obviously for good delivery, they should be developing up the state of play of trees across the district. So
I could probably answer that as well. This did come up in assets and services. So yes, it will be done for all densely planted parks as part of climate change and our assessment of going carbon neutral. Within council, we are looking at what trees we are planting where and coming up with an assessment. But as you can imagine, it's a very big project and it'll be done over time.
It's a great project. Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, just one other question, and it may not fall into this, Russell, but do you know, or Alex, do you know if the notable trees list is being updated or is being updated? Yeah, sorry, Russell.
Yeah, we've got one of the planning officers at work still working on that, Chris, who is wading through the technical requirements with that. So that's currently a work in progress to get finalisation.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. There was an incident the other day where somebody needed to find out whether a tree could be taken down, and I got the notable list through Bryce, and it just, yeah, I know that we had been talking in the past about getting that updated and added to and things. Awesome. So everyone happy with the 8.1, the officer's report? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to 8.2, action items report. Do I have a mover to receive that report? Clear, thank you. Second, Jason. All those in favour, hand up or aye. Those against, no or hand up. Awesome, thank you. Motion moved, carried. Are there any updates on any of these open action items or questions, clarification you'd like to ask? I've got a couple. I spoke to Russell earlier on today regarding number 83, which is the welcome to Featherston signs, and he was trying to find out. I know Stefan's just come into a new position and is pretty much loaded up with things. So did you manage to find out anything, Russell?
Yeah, I phoned Tim Langley this afternoon and got a brief answer from him on the following basis, that he is set to have a discussion on Thursday with between him and Stefan to discuss and progress the topic further. I said it would be appreciated if there was an update to come from that officer meeting on Thursday. The only other thing Tim mentioned was they are also mindful. I mean, it's a topic amongst the mix of work that they're having to resolve. And the only other thing he said was they're also mindful of the rather strict requirements set by New Zealand Transport Agency in terms of highways. So it's that they've got to follow due process and give consideration of what information's been put to them in terms of their awareness of transit requirements.
Okay. My understanding of that is that they had agreed with everything to date. It was the NZT or Waka Kotahi were happy with what was going to be changed.
Yeah, that was my earlier understanding too. Yeah.
Okay. So can you just confirm, is it actually Stefan or Tim that's handling this? It would be Stefan, but with input from Tim?
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And if we could just, obviously, Rhonda Jones has been dealing with Ewan up until now, and I'd hope that at some point Stefan's spoken to her saying that I've now taken this over. Once that's sort of talked about on Thursday, could I just get one or either of them to contact Rhonda just to let her know what's happening?
We can get Katie to note that.
Yep, that'd be awesome, please, just to keep her in the loop. She's done a lot of work.
So that you've got the information follow up.
Yep. No, that'd be awesome. All right. One other thing I just wanted to bring up on here was item 276, which is the proposal of having a Māori name for Featherston, a Paita Mokai, and a Po carving. Now, this has been to and fro through the community board, through FabFeather, through MSC and the council for quite a while now. And actually looking back to this proposal or this project was tabled at the meeting back in June 2020 by Sophronia, who was when she was on the board. I don't believe this should have actually become an action item on our agenda, because it was tabled by the group of FabFeather, and Sophronia was dealing with that through FabFeather. She came to the meeting, and it was more of an information sharing thing with what was happening, but it's been put onto our action points and has been there since then. Do others agree that shouldn't be on there?
What is our presence? What is our responsibility within this?
Nothing really. It was right. Communication. If you read what I sent out to you the other day, and at the bottom, it's a community collective wishes to establish a Po Mary carving with Po Tamaiko Featherston seeking support for this. So all we're doing is supporting them wanting to do it, not necessarily what they're doing, but just supporting what it is they're doing. So long as we've been made aware that through FabFeather, I know I'm speaking from FabFeather's side of this now, that the correct procedure wasn't followed. We've gone through that process as from FabFeather, but a lot of the confusion is that people are believing that this is a Featherston Community Board project.
I understand that. That's why I'm saying
not.
If it's like any information sharing from our public, I agree with you. It shouldn't be on here.
And I think what had happened is that right back at the start, it was put onto the action points, and it's stated right through from there that FabFeather attending 3rd August MSC, and then Featherston Community Board awaiting feedback. I don't think we actually need to be involved with it. Do others agree with that?
Yep.
We haven't been, the group hasn't sought our help, and I don't think we have the expertise to get involved. So I do agree it needs to be removed. It's not a community board thing. So I would agree with you there.
So how do we go about that, Katie? Do we just action that?
Yep, you could make a recommendation that this action be closed. If that's something that you are no longer wanting to be involved in or are not involved in.
Okay, I'll make that recommendation that it's closed, and then we just vote on that. Do we?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll make a recommendation that that's closed, because I don't believe that it was ever intended that the Featherston Community Board was part of that project. It was just an information sharing thing. Okay, so I'll put that forward. I just need a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Claire, thank you. All those in favour, aye, raise your hand. Those against, no, raise your hand. Motion carried, thank you. So we can action that off, Katie. Awesome, thank you. Is there any others?
Mark?
Sorry, Russell, yep.
Yeah, that's good clarification. The only other thing that lingers is for FabFeather, if they're a believer in the project, then they must do the due necessary stuff with Maori Standing Committee and keep their ears open to the feedback received from the Maori Standing Committee in terms of carving aspects.
So it was presented, and I suppose, I don't know whether you know this, but it was presented on the 3rd of August. They've since met on the their last meeting they just had, and have made a decision. And I spoke to Narita again through Featherstone yesterday. They are presenting, or they are giving their report or their decision to the council, and then the council are then coming back to Featherstone with that decision. So as soon as that comes back, Featherstone will look at that and take on what's been said and go forward from there.
That's good.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mark, if I could suggest that possibly, as part of removing it, that you write to Featherstone and ask what involvement you would like from the Featherston community, just to clarify, is it just a letter of support, or do they want more involvement? I think it's a nice way to wrap up this with them.
No worries. Support. Yep, sweet as. Awesome. Right. No other action items on there anyone wants to speak about, or everything got there once?
Yeah, just the 342. Has there been any discussion about the health assessment kits?
I was waiting. What happened with that? I spoke to, who was the head of the libraries?
Annette?
Annette.
Annette's the manager.
Yes, sorry, it was Annette. And what I was trying to work out was how much demand there had been for the one that they've got, or they've got only one, haven't they, at the moment?
One for sale.
How much demand there had been for that? And look, I haven't chased it, but I haven't heard back from her either. Does anyone know offhand what the demand's been?
I had asked that question. Admittedly, it must be about a good month old.
Yeah.
That it was relatively steady. One a day or one every 2 days. But I think a lot of that is to do with advertising, and the more you advertise it, the more it will get used. To my mind, I think you should just go ahead and buy another one at $300. It's good use of your money, and you can probably sell it for that at the end if you decide you don't need it. Otherwise, you could wait another couple of months to try and get agreement with the other community boards.
Yeah.
So can we, sorry, Katie, are we able to add that in, or is it too late to add that in tonight to make that decision tonight? Can we do that?
Yep, you can do that.
Okay, thanks. Can I do that in my report at the end?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you. And we'll do that as our community board, and then Greytown can decide, or sorry, Martin Borough, whoever hasn't got the other one, can decide at their meeting. Awesome. Thank you.
And the 442, I'm still trying to work out whether which date, whether we do it before Christmas or after. It's come back that it would be best to do after Christmas.
I think so. We're pretty pushed.
Maybe sort of late January, early February, just because time's caught up with us. That's all.
Okay, so we'll just park that until
we can work on it. And we were thinking we'd put up a doodle poll where each of the community boards could select, within say 2 weeks, which days suit them best, and we need to move to that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thank you. Okay, so 8.3, which is move on to the adoption of the 2022 meeting schedule report. 51 to 55. Where are we? Pages. So I'll move that we accept that. Seconder on that. Jason, thank you. All those in favour, aye. Raise your hand. All those against, carried. Thanks for that. That was 51. Any questions on that?
Yeah, I still feel that 8 weeks is a little bit long. If issues of importance come up. but maybe we could address that in the next triennium for whoever's there.
Yeah, I think when we initially went to the 8 weeks, we sort of thought if we needed to have something we could run an extraordinary, but I just think it's the 6 weeks is a bit more lenient, I suppose. Bit easier to work through, but we could discuss that it's a February, I think it'll be our first meeting, is it?
Yeah.
We can discuss that then. Any other questions on any of that?
I'm just wondering how this program, if we choose to look at something different, would be able to be changed.
Sorry, Claire, just to clarify, you were wanting to go with the 6-week schedule?
Yes.
Yes. So this report is actually looking at a 6-week schedule. Council has recently adopted a 6-week schedule for the new year, and the majority of community boards are following suit. So you will see in the proposed meeting schedule that it is now on a 6-weekly, not an 8-weekly schedule.
Right.
Yeah, Claire, we the council decided much the same with concerns with yourself with regards to the continuity of meetings, but you'll see on number 1 background that they're endorsing an attached calendar which has been prepared using a 6-week cycle.
Good.
Fantastic. No, I was looking, I was actually just counting the squares rather than the months, because I can see 22nd to the 5th is not 2 months. Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, so we're moving on to chief executives. Well,
no income and expenditure.
Sorry, income and expenditure. Yes. So we move to receive that. I'm happy to move that. Seconder on that one, Claire. Thank you. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? Carried on that. Any questions on that one?
Can I, yes, just get a bit of clarification on something you're going to be bringing up. That is going to come out of our beautification fund, is it not? The flag tracks. Yeah.
Yes, that's what we agreed to back at the start. We just need to confirm everyone's happy with that.
Yes.
So we're happy on the expenditures, income and expenditures.
Yeah, just as the flexi light is the oak tree, is the lighting in the oak tree now?
Yes, yep, it's all up there. When it was put up, there was, when we initially got the lights, there was we got 3 leads for the lights all to come into, and then they get wired in. But unfortunately, when they were put up, Colin didn't give the information to the electrician that's how it, or sorry, the arborist, that's how it needed to be done. So we needed to get 3 more plugs, which I've since got at no cost, and with Gary Thomas, and Gary's going to hook up. So we're now going to have 6 leads coming into boxes to power it. So I got those to him probably at least a week ago. So hopefully they're going to be up. I mean, we'd like them to be a while before Christmas, but hopefully very shortly they'll be up and running.
Good.
And hopefully
Mark, so have you done that for $900? The whole project?
We did it for the lights were just under 1,000. The last time they bought them was 4,000. And the lights this time they cost us 1,000. And then the leads, and that was including the leads they gave us, and then they've given us another 3 leads for no cost. So there's going to be obviously a fee from the arborist to put them up there.
Yeah.
Caitlin,
That's good.
Do you know if
that's very good. You've done that very well, because I think our initial thoughts were 5,000.
Yeah, so we allowed 5,000 because the initial lights were 4,000, and we've got the same amount for 1,000 this time, and then obviously to put them up and hooking up, so we should be well under, which is great. Okay, so what have we got? Chief, I've missed the page here. So the chief executive report. Where are we on that one?
Or chairman?
Chairman.
Chair report. Hold on.
Page 60.
I'm glad somebody's listening. Right, oh, I know what's happened. Yes, here it is. Skinny staples, the last page just ripped off. It's all right. Okay, right. Cheers report. Okay. So there's a couple of things on here. What do we have? Oh, so we've got a couple of three things to discuss here over and above. We've got the lighting. So you received the quote from for the flag tracks.
Yes.
So the repair on them, just so everyone's understanding, we're looking at a maximum of $3,070 plus GST. Now that's for the repair of 6 lights, 6 tracks. 5 of them have been twisted out of alignment, and one's actually been damaged where it's been hit by a truck. So what we were looking at doing was thinking, right, well, because a lot of this is going to be involved with traffic management, we could possibly look at buying some new ones for the other side of the road, but that just got too expensive. So I've just said to the guy, look, let's just go with the repairs and get those sorted. And as he's saying here, if it can be done quicker for a lesser rate, then he'll charge us a lesser fee for it. What I'm proposing tonight is that we look at doing them. I've questioned him on, so this is 6 out of 15 that need repairing. 1 has obviously been hit by a truck, so that didn't matter, but the other 5 are just installation problems. And I says to him, what's to stop this happening with the rest? And he was saying that the rest of them are on, they've got flat edged poles. So the clamps actually clamp, the round poles are the ones that are slipping. The other ones, they clamp on better. So he's hoping that we wouldn't have the problem that we've had with these ones. They've all been under the same conditions, and it's mainly these ones that have moved. So hoping that the others, if they were going to move, they would have moved before now, if that makes sense. So what they're going to do is literally take them all down, clean them all up, put them all back, and tech screw them into the pole so they won't move moving forward. So if everyone's happy with that, I'll move that we approve that fee, that cost, and I'll get back to him to say that we're happy for them to go with it whenever they're able to come and do it.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'm happy. So there's, we move that in second. Claire, all those in favour? Aye. Jason, you put your hand up. Yep, those against, that's moved. So can we get that moved forward? Caitlin, please, and I'll just get hold of Chris to confirm that.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, this one blank now. What was the other one we were going to talk about? Not the parade at the moment, but the other one.
The rates.
Oh, sorry, the kit. The kit.
Yes.
Library at the library. That's a cost of $300. Is that correct, Alex? Is that
That's my understanding. Last time we met, that it was $300 including case.
Okay, sweet. So I'm happy to move that we buy one of those for our library.
Yes.
Have a seconder on that. Thank you, Jason. Those in favour? Aye.
Can I have a clarification on that, please? Can we say, just in case that we buy one, we don't put a price on it yet? Because it might have changed slightly. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we just buy a kit.
I think if you put 300, if it's any more, that council can come to the party for any differential.
Okay, so we're saying 200 and the council will pay the rest. Good try. All right, so
I have no delegations on spending, so yeah. I'm hoping.
All right, sweet as. Awesome, thank you. So that was on that one. So do we want to talk about the I'll finish off here first. Okay. So that was on that one. Okay, so the rates meeting at the council meeting the other night, Alex, I was on the agenda to speak, but something happened and it was changed, or are you able to say what happened there or how? Because I've spoken with Suzanne.
Yeah, it was a very massive agenda. We had an extraordinary item, much like we had here. That extraordinary item, which happens a lot on long or complex meetings, meant that a number of other items later on got bumped out. And that's just a fact for council meetings. I mean, our council staff are quite used to that, and they end up having to hang around, unfortunately, but there's no way that can really be controlled because of the position of extraordinary business. And that extraordinary business was outcomes from the rate meetings. So we apologise, but it's a fact of large committee meetings, I'm afraid. There was nothing personal about it.
So that was just a letter that I wanted to read out from behalf of the community board and the community, but we've since spoken about that in other areas. The workshop
can you read that letter out, please?
Do you want to read out now?
I do, please. It would be good to hear.
Okay, all right. So, statement of South Waterford Council. At the 3 recent community meetings about the rates increase for 2022, it became clear that there will not be any reduction or relief for any ratepayers for the 2021-22 year. Not only is this disappointing, it is unacceptable. Our communities were expecting a genuine engagement with council regarding the rates increase, including what rates relief might be available in 21-22. Unfortunately, all we heard were weak and confusing excuses and a presentation that was devoid of any real solutions that would see any form of relief for the 21-22 rate year. At those meetings, you presented 3 options that you said you had worked through at your recent extraordinary meeting on 27 October. These options were aimed at reducing any rates increase for the 22-23 year, not 21-22. You stated that you preferred option 3, which would see savings of around $385,000, thereby keeping the planned rates increase for 22-23 year to around 8%. You presented your rationale for this option, including the financial analysis that had been undertaken. At the meetings with the community, you did not provide any financial details about options 1 or 2, and you had clearly already discounted these options in preference for option 3. At the Featherston meeting, there were questions about the potential impact of these 2 options, which were not answered with any degree of detail. A request was made for you to provide the full financial analysis for options 1 and 2, which you agreed to do so. However, these have not been supplied. In reference to the Greytown and Featherston meetings, the document titled Options for Reducing Budget and Rates for 21-22 for this council meeting states under section 2.1 that around half the audience for the first 2 meetings were keen on significant rates cuts this year. However, had a better understanding of how difficult this would be by the end of the meetings. This is simply not true. Feedback from the Featherston meeting was that there was inadequate explanations about options 1 and 2, and that it was clear from the presentation that the council had already decided on option 3. This document also sets out information about options 1 and 2 under section 5.2. However, the information provided appears to be set out that implementing either of these options would be expensive and time-consuming. Given that you have not provided any real detailed financial analysis regarding options 1 and 2, apart from some estimated costs of undertaking either of these options, ranging from $15,000 to $80,000, I request that you undertake a proper analysis of implementing these options, including what the potential outcome would be in terms of reducing the rates in 2021-22, which is what our communities are asking for. I request that you do not proceed with confirming your preferred option 2. I request that you do not proceed with your confirming your preferred option 3. Do the work to fully present options 1 and 2 and allow appropriate time for consideration and input from our communities. My community wants to see a genuine plan for rates relief in 2021-2022. I do not accept that the current level of rate increases needs to be implemented this year, and believe that there is an opportunity for these to be recognised and reset at an affordable level for all our communities. And that was on behalf of myself as the chair of the community board, and members of our community.
Thank you.
So did you table that? or were you just not heard at all?
Well, I'd had a time set for 10:15 on that day to read that out, but as Alex said, that for whatever reason the timings of things of the agenda had been changed. I had another business meeting at 11:15, so I waited till 11 o'clock, and then I just couldn't stay any longer, so I had to leave.
So the questions about the clarification for good accounting, or for all the costs of options 1 and 2, have we got them, and shall we ask council if the community board could be provided with that information, or where we could find it? Because I notice you've raised those points.
My understanding is so far that at their meeting they decided that it was going to be well, I mean, maybe Alex could explain. I don't know whether it's been shelved until next year.
No, certainly. If you'd listened to the council meeting, Claire, you would have seen that there was a greater explanation in public and tabled in public regarding the additional costs of the different options. I have problems with your letter, Mark, with regards to accusations of predetermination, with accusations of having a fixed view as opposed to putting in options and declaring a preferred view. However, your letter has been tabled to council, and any items that require additional information from your perspective will be provided by council officers.
Brilliant. Through the chair, may I just address just the issue of concerns with the rates, and has the council, can you say, is there a space that the vulnerable people who are finding it extraordinarily hard to pay their rates as well as feed themselves, has council got a avenue where they could get a rates reprieve?
Again, we went over those in the council meeting, and they are available by any person who is struggling with their rates to contact the council and make arrangements. So they've been quite clearly spelled out. Again, we can get a council officer or the rates person to send those directly through to you.
I think it would be great if those were in your rates when we get the rates. If that
all this information is available to you online anyway, Claire, without bringing it up.
It might be for me, but for our community who may not have access.
Claire, that was, as Alex says, that was acknowledged at the Featherston meeting in recognition of those that might be encountering some difficulty, so that the finance team is there to receive those. To have that information and respond to it on a case-by-case basis.
If these people who I hoped would be on today aren't, as they're not on, is it possible, do we have a name where they can contact for information that the mayor has mentioned? Yeah,
certainly. You can ring council and say we would like to discuss rates.
Yeah, who do we address that? I mean, there's a lot of people.
Okay, there again online there is the rates email, which goes directly to the rates team, or they can ring reception and ask to speak to rates.
To who?
Rates.
Oh,
the rates team. Yeah,
the rates team. Okay, thank you.
Good. All good on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Claire, the Christmas event, did you want to speak to, we've put aside the $500, or we've tagged the $500 towards a Christmas event. Obviously through the COVID restrictions and the restrictions council are bound by for using council land under those restrictions is going to cause a bit of a can cause a bit of a problem. Did you want to speak to what you had planned or what you had envisaged, you and Jason?
Okay, Jason, is this okay if you chime in, if I just set the stage? We've had great help from Jack from Fairfeather in organising this, as well as we've had 2 or 3 meetings. Up until this afternoon, we have actually not been able to move, but we have got a whole lot of stuff in plan, and I could sort of, I do have a, I don't know if I can screen share. I'm not sure what the story is, but if I can, no, I can't. So what we have looked at is one space on basically half an acre in front of the sports hub, where we will monitor people who come in at 3 points, and we will there will be a parade, but it will only be a walking parade, which actually is great, especially within our climate problems. We will have a walking parade, which will be led by some musicians, and we will follow all the COVID rules. And around the perimeter of the parade area, which will be in the middle, we will have all the spectators. They will be categorized into groups of 50 with a 2-meter barrier between each group. And this is because under COVID Orange, we decided that we would look to go under the non-vaccinated rules, because if we have children in the parade who want their parents to be with them, but the parents have chosen to not be vaccinated, we didn't feel we could send the children away and have that. So the rules are you can only have groups of 25, and there has to be a 1 meter gap between each group. So we felt we could work with that. And then once the parade is over, people can sort of move together up to groups of 50 with a 2-meter barrier. And I'll leave Jason to carry on with what are the events that we are looking at.
Mayor.
Yeah, just before we go on, Claire, have you run that concept and the ability to isolate into groups of 25 past the police prior to going down that path?
We have only literally just done that. We've run it through the Department of the Prime Minister for COVID.
Yeah.
And I've sent all the letters that are applicable through to the appropriate people, being Karen, Karen, sorry, I've forgotten her last name, and Stefan, and we are now working with Nigel.
Oh, that's
He's going to clarify everything tomorrow.
Yeah, I just hate to see something go astray, but it sounds like you've got it all on plan. Thank you, Claire.
Yes, it's managing those practicalities and being aware of the risk and having suitable numbers to help you manage the numbers on site. Yep,
we have used Peter as soon as we say we can go. Peter will be the traffic assist person who will put up all the barriers. We will then get people to man the place, and if anybody, because we're going to have to cut the field in half or a certain space, and what we'll do is we will have people on that perimeter fence with cones, and if anybody comes in from the side, they will be asked to go round to the entrances, the 3 entrances.
Yeah.
Go for it, Jason.
Sorry, the 3 entrances coming on from Johnson Street, and under COVID, under the orange light system, there is no limits to the numbers you can have. So, so on that day, after the walking parade, we decide to have some entertainment from the balcony of the sport hubs. So the entertainment will come from the top there, and and spectators will be on the ground in those designated area that Claire mentioned in group of 25 or 50. Under the orange light for unvaccinated is 50 in a group. So we have no problem with that. Yeah. So I think Claire and I and Jack, we're just waiting for the support from our council to give the green light for us to go ahead. I have organized a Cook Island group that will come from Porirua for the entertainment of that day. As well, we have another band that coming, Claire have organized, that will lead the parade in the field. We have food stall on the day. We have Asian food, Cook Island food, and the good old New Zealand barbecue food on the day. We also have water fountain coming from Carterton Council, I think. We get to use that for free. We just have to connect it to a water tap at the field. So so far, that's how far we went. We have
and drinks
and
and Mela Juice said that they would give us a good deal to have a selection of their drinks that people could buy if it was very hot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Any other questions on that so far? Sounds great.
Yes, we're calling it a wellness Christmas in the Park celebration.
And what the actual parade part of things, Claire, where's that heading from? Where's that leaving from?
Oh, if you remember with the loos that we were talking about at the bottom end of
yes, yeah.
What would happen about 11:30? Would all the people in parades would walk right across the field, across, and then when it starts, they would walk. We would get the spectators to go around, so there would be an area in the middle of this massive space, and then we would have that marked where the parade would walk around.
Okay, so it's all based down there.
It's only in that one space. We were thinking of using the whole field, but we realized that trying to organize and keep that whole boundary contained would be too difficult.
Awesome. That sounds great. Good job. Okay, one last thing we've got to sign off here on is the Matariki signs. I thought they had been paid, Katie. Has that not gone through from Colin Olds?
Yes, so they have been paid, but there was never a resolution made on it. So we just need to go back.
Awesome.
And if you could make that recommendation, and as long as we can resolve that, then we can just have it for our records.
All good, thank you. So I passed a resolution that we pay the $408, including GST, for the Matariki signs that were done for the Matariki evening.
Yep.
Do we have a seconder on that? Claire, thank you. All those in favour, aye, raise your hand. Those against, motion carried. Thank you for that.
Can I just say, Mark, I'd really like to thank Jason and Jack for the work that they've done on the Christmas parade, for the Christmas celebration. Yeah.
Well done, guys. Appreciate it. Katie, can you just confirm that the account has been paid to or has been sent in from the arborist for those lights? Have you seen that? No, are you still there, Katie?
Sorry. Is this the lighting of the oak tree?
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So on the income and expenditure report, it is under committed funds. I can clarify with finance that has been paid.
Awesome. That's
but
right.
At the time of this agenda going out, I believe it was still just a committed.
That's it had been committed. We knew that. I just wanted to make sure we're all sort of on track and everyone's getting paid and happy.
I can take that back and let you know.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So if we've got nothing else, everyone, nothing else to be talked about or no? All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And I'll declare this. Sorry. No. Declare the meeting closed.